Good evening and welcome out to tonight's tackle trading onboarding webinar. This is Coach Frank. I'll be taking you through the website this evening, just showing you around a little bit, letting you get to know kind of who we are at tackle trading, what we're doing, when we're doing it, and where you can find it. So we'll dive right on into it here this evening. Really, in a nutshell, tackle trading is just a group of traders that have come together to help each other out, bounce things around off of one another, share what's working, what's not, share ideas, the whole 9 yards. But as I, break down tackle trading, I like to kind of put it into three little baskets. First of which is the things that you can do on your own. That's going to be courses and blogs and some of the tools in our trade center and things of that nature. Next, the things that you can do with others, basically our live content. We're with the team each and every market day in a variety of ways. So I'll kind of walk you through what that looks like. And then lastly, our weekend reports where we can share ideas going into the upcoming week with our community. So that will kind of be the angle that we come at it here this evening as well. Looks like for some reason I decided to log out. There we go, log back in. That'll help. And we'll dive right on into it with that first basket, the things that you can do on your own. And that's going to include a variety of courses. We have our 7-step guide to trading. It's a relatively short course, just kind of introducing new traders to the market and new traders to our community, kind of to the tackle trading approach to the markets. Philosophically, we kind of have a top-down approach, right? Everybody has, no two traders are the same, but as a group and as a community here, I do think we kind of share, kind of a core philosophy, and that's what we're going to discuss here in that 7-step guide to trading, from starting at the top of the markets into choosing our strategy, finding and analyzing our trades, planning, placing, managing, and journaling those trades. Relatively short course. If you're a new trader, it should be really helpful. If you're a vet, I imagine there will be some review in there, but maybe you can get a couple of things that can make your existing routine a little bit smoother or faster in there as well. Beyond the 7-step guide to trading, we do offer our pro members a variety of courses, including Technical Analysis 101. As traders, charting is kind of important to us, right? And so the more we understand, those charts, probably the better everything else is going to be. So it'll just be charts, and more charts in there, right? Support, resistance, trend, momentum, pattern, candlesticks, the whole 9 yards. Over in the Options 101 course, we're really going to focus on the contract. What happens when you buy or sell that contract, right? Options aren't as cut and dry as stock is, in the sense that if you buy a stock today for $20, if you sell it for more than $20 at any point in the future, you profited, right? Whether it's tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, that's going to be the case. With options, there's a lot of other moving parts that are going on, and we do need to understand those parts if we're going to trade options. So we're not going to really focus a tremendous amount on strategies in the Options 101 course. It's really going to be understanding the contract, why it moves the way it moves, the Greeks, volatility, liquidity, all of that fun stuff in there. If you've ever been interested in learning more about the futures or the currency markets, but not really knowing where to start, we offer introduction courses into those markets as well. I know not everybody wants to trade futures or Forex, and quite honestly, that's fine. We don't have to trade those markets, but if we want to trade those markets, we absolutely can, right? And so it's really going to come down to the individual, but it can be a great place to start if you've ever found yourself interested, but not quite understanding the leverage and kind of what's going on. How do those areas differ than the traditional stock market? Very good place to start. You'll also find a system development course. This is one course I recommend all traders to work through, regardless of your experience in the market, what kind of products you like to trade. Are you a day trader, cash flow trader, trading crypto, swing trader, whatever you are? I think we all understand the importance of having clearly defined rules and systems in place. And the system development course is designed to kind of take you from, I understand that's important, to implementing that. And so it's certainly very much worth investing a little bit of time, in my opinion, to work through that system development course. You'll also notice that we have a handful of premium products here at Tackle Trading as well. These are our premium systems. The Tackle 25 is a covered call-based system on a group of stocks that we put together each year with the intent of cash flowing via covered calls. Step system is our approach to swing trading the markets. Cash flow condors is another cash flow system, this time on the Russell 2000. And of course, the bear market survival guide, protecting ourselves from turns in the market and then dealing with those bearish cycles when we get into them. All of these are one-time purchases. It's a complete system. It is yours for life. Don't want to get too hung up on them. Just wanted to kind of let you know what they are. If you'd like a little bit more information on any or all of them, you can find it over in the store tab, or feel free to send us an email to team@tackletrading.com, and we'd be happy to get you some more information on them. Not everything needs to be a course. We do regular blog content. We do this both in written and video form, whether it's more charting with Tales of Technician, taking concepts kind of from the ground up over in the Rookie Corner, more options in the option theory, hearing from our awesome female trading community over in the Women in Trading blog. So these are just additional ways that we can, reach out, share ideas, answer questions to the team. Like I said, not everything has to be an hour-long webinar or full course or anything along those lines, but definitely worth incorporating into that weekly routine. Over in the Trade Center, you will find a link to our trading journals. We'll talk a little bit more about them shortly. Our trading glossary, our clubhouse, and the Tackle Trading Playbook. This is where you're going to find all of our strategies and the rules for the strategies. We break our strategy selection into 3 core groups based off of the option Greeks: Delta, Theta, and Vega. So our Delta is our directional playbook, right? I think the stock's going from point A to point B, from 20 to 25, from 75 to 60. I think it's going to move, right? So of course that would include buying and selling stock, but that would also include buying call options to trade to the upside, buying put options to trade to the downside, doing debit spreads, diagonal spreads, basically movement-based strategies. Then over the Theta playbook, this is our cash flow playbook, right? This is where we're selling those options and bringing in that premium. So that would include things like covered calls, naked puts, credit spreads, iron condors, and the like. And then the Vega or the volatility playbook, this is where we're playing our expectation on the volatility, right? I think this stock is going to move a lot on this upcoming earnings report. How can I profit as long as it moves a lot one way or the other? I don't know if it's moving up. I don't know if it's moving down, but based off its history, I think there's a good chance it's going to move a lot one way or the other. How can I profit in that environment? For examples, that'd be straddles and strangles and things of that nature. In all of these, you'll find a detailed video going through, what is the strategy? Why would we choose the strategy? Our rules for the strategy, building the strategy, risk, reward, all of that fun stuff. You'll also find a little cheat sheet, a little PDF downloadable cheat sheet. So you have easy access to the rules. What's my delta rule? What's my theta rule? What am I looking for on this strategy? So easily accessible rules. You'll also notice that on all of these, there's something between a 0 and a plus or a minus 3. And this is just kind of where we see this strategy. If you kind of think about 0 as, flat neutral, plus or minus 1 would be slightly bullish or slightly bearish. 2 or minus 2 would be bullish or bearish. And then 3 or minus 3 would be very bullish or very bearish. Just kind of letting kind of where we see these strategies along those lines. It's always important to match the strategy to the situation, right? If I think I've got a nice slow trender on my hands, I might not want to buy just a call option, for example, because maybe, I get eaten up too much by theta in that scenario. So maybe a spread would make a little bit more sense, just as an example there. So that is the Tackle Trading Playbook. If you go directly into the Trade Center, this will bring you to a What's Up at Tackle Trading page. What's our next show, our most recent posts, most recent tweet, a little watch list you can build out for yourself if you would like to do so. All you would do is just throw in the symbol that you wanted there. And I'm just going to go hit this plus button, and that's going to add Apple to my list. If I decide I don't need it anymore, I'll just select down here, hit this minus button, and get rid of it. Not everyone's going to use this, and that's fine, but it is kind of nice to have an easily accessible watch list without having to log in securely or anything like that. There will be a replay of one of our YouTube shows, where you are in any of the courses, a little mini calendar coming up for the upcoming event. So really, if you go directly into the Trade Center, it really is kind of a What's Up page. You'll also find a variety of trader tools over here as well. You'll find the Market Skyline. In here, you're going to find all of the charts for the big stuff. So our indexes, index futures in this particular case, for the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell, Bitcoin, the VIX, the emerging market, the all world ETFs, the major commodities like gold and silver and copper and crude, the sector spider ETFs. All of these things are an important part of that top-down analysis that's we're so big on here at Tackle Trading, and all important part of that daily routine. It doesn't have to be on this page, but we did want to have a one-stop shop, if you will. I think this is an important part of any routine, and I would certainly encourage you to embrace it if you were not already doing so. You'll also find a little link to the heat map over at finviz.com if you want to take a closer look at the market that way, see what areas were in the green today, and the red today, just a different visual, if you will. You'll find a news aggregator. This is going to go through some of the bigger financial sites. You'll typically see CNBC and Market Watch and Wall Street Journal and the Times in there. Just going to go through and kind of aggregate the headlines for us. So instead of having to bounce around through, a bunch of different, sites and clicking back and forth, just kind of get it in an easily, processable manner. I can easily kind of scroll down here. If I'm an Uber trader or owner or investor, that's probably really interesting to me. If not, I might not care, right? And it's okay. This is news, right? So everybody's going to have the things that they're interested in and the things that they're not, which is fine. Just an easier way to approach it, just really designed to save some time. It's not like we couldn't find these stories elsewhere, right? We could go directly to CNBC and browse through, but just an easy way to process it. You'll find a link to the economic calendar so you can be aware of what's on the docket for today or for this week. Another link to our market reports, which are up here and we'll talk about here in a couple of minutes. A link to the compounding gains calculator, a chart if you ever need one, another link to the glossary and the search function. You can also find that search function right up here. You'll also find another link to get into our trade journals. If you come into this link that we just did, it'll bring you directly to the tutorial. You can also access those trade journals on the dropdown of the Trade Center itself. But if you do come into it through the Trade Center like we just did, it will bring you straight to that tutorial. If you need a little bit of help, there's no shame in that. We have 3 different trade journals. We have the trade journal where we can let it know what we did, when we did it, how much of it we did, right? And it's going to track the rest. What's our gain loss, how long we're in the trade, how long on average are we in a trade, what does our average winning trade make us, how much does our average winning trade cost us. Very important information. Data research tool. This is where we can build and compare our cash flow strategies. For example, say you've got 3 bear call spreads that you're looking at, candidates that you're looking at tonight, but you only want to do one going into tomorrow. Well, how do we choose which one, right? If we like all 3, we need to find a way to like one the most, right? And the Theta Journal will allow us to compare them a little bit more fairly against one another. It's a fantastic tool if you're a cash flow trader for sure. The Portfolio Journal, just to make sure we're staying on top of the overall portfolio, right? As you start to get, multiple positions, and some are long-term and some are short-term and some are cash flow and some are directional. It's, some people, aren't doing a ton of trades, but some people are. And being on top of it, of course, is very important. In any of these, if you come into it this way, just select the journal that you want. You can download any or all of them directly from this page as well. So that's going to be the end of kind of that first area and the things that you can do on your own. Hopefully that gives you some ideas. Now let's talk a little bit about the things that you can do with others, aka the schedule. And let's kind of start with the average market day here. Every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, we're going to get together in our Traders Lounge for an hour with our community. Very informal place where members of our team can come in, get help if they need it, share ideas if they've got them. Really, whatever people want to do in that lounge, we'll do it. And so it's important. Everybody has questions sometimes, right? And it's important that we have a place where we can answer them. So maybe you're struggling with bear call spreads. It would be helpful to walk through the process from beginning to end with somebody. Maybe you've got a trade set up. They just want to get some other eyeballs and some feedback on. Maybe you've got a trade that you're in and you're, thinking about some different management techniques to work with it. Maybe you're just struggling with your daily routine or your overall portfolio design, or who knows what it is, right? We can talk about it all in that Traders Lounge every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, right here on Tackle Trading. Shortly after that Traders Lounge, we're going to head over to our YouTube channel at 12:30 p.m. Eastern for the Tackle Trading Halftime Report, live look into the market, basically going through the market one step at a time, right? Starting at the top and working our way down. So what's going on today? How is it impacting our index charts, our sectors, stocks in the news, commodities, right? Just staying on top of the story that is the market. That's over on our YouTube channel at 12:30 p.m. Eastern each market day, about the halfway point of the trading day. On Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do our coaches show. Coaches show allows us to zero in on a topic and really have an in-depth discussion on that one thing, right? Sometimes, we can't go over, maybe it's not as thorough in our, in the halftime report, or maybe you had a question in the lounge and, it gave you an answer, but it would kind of be helpful to go through a little more thoroughly. The thing is, there's so much to talk about as traders, and everything everything warrants a really in-depth discussion, right? But there's only so much time in the day. What I love about the coaches show, it really lets us zero in on one thing and let's just have a talk about this. Let's just talk debicons. Coach Gino and I talked debicons last week, for example. So it's a lot of fun. It's live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday night. It is recorded and archived, so if you can't make it live, or if you need to rewatch it, or if you want to watch a previous episode on a subject that you find interesting, very easy to do. So just click on the link. You'll find the information for the show when it's upcoming, as well as the archives in there. On Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do our cash flow club. This one's going to be a little more narrowly focused on those cash flow strategies, right? As the name probably gives it away. So credit spreads, naked puts, covered calls, iron condors, building and managing these cash flow trades. As a whole, I would say we are big fans of cash flowing here at Tackle Trading. And so we do want to have a place where we can really dedicate solely to those type of trades each week. Just like the coaches show, it is recorded and archived, so very easy to catch up or revisit if you need to do so. As I mentioned a little earlier, we offer a handful of premium systems, and each month we get together with each members of these teams in a mastermind group. We invite all of our pro members to join us in those mastermind groups, regardless of whether or not they are members of that team. So you don't have to have the Tackle 25 to join us in the Tackle 25 mastermind group or anything along those lines. So if you want to kind of come in and just listen, learn a little bit, see if the system's worth taking a closer look at, absolutely, of course, welcome to do so. Those typically are on Monday evenings. About every other Monday, we also do a special webinar here on our YouTube channel. So we don't have one this evening, but I would imagine we probably have one coming up in the very, very near future. And it's always a lot of fun, and hopefully a little bit of learning happens in there as well. We have a tremendous team of female traders with us here. As I mentioned earlier in the Women in Trading blog, they get together about once a month in their Women in Trading Mastermind group. And I'm going to hop over to the events calendar here really quickly. I can't tell you firsthand exactly what happens in the Women in Trading Mastermind group, but I do know the team, and I have no doubt that they're having fun and getting some good work done in there. If you are a woman in trading, or if you know a woman in trading, definitely keep an eye out for that. We'll promote it. It does tend to be towards the later parts of the month, from what I gather on it, and I think you'll have a fantastic time. And fellas, I'm sorry you'll have to find something else to do when that comes around, but that is certainly okay. On Wednesday nights, we do two different things here on our YouTube channel at 7 Eastern. We do our Trade Masters webinar, where a couple of coaches will come together with 3 different trade ideas each: a delta trade idea, a theta trade idea, and a wild card idea. They'll bounce those ideas off of one another, and members of our community who are joining us live, who will vote each round on whose idea they like the most. At the end of it, someone is the trade master. It's a lot of fun. It's really designed so we can, we're big watch list traders here at Tackle Trading. And so there's no bad way to come up with a good trade idea, right? And so it's just a fun way as we get into the second part of the week to maybe take a look at some things and beef up that watch list a little bit. So that's right here on our YouTube channel at 7 Eastern. And then shortly after that, we're going to head back over to Tackle Trading for our Wednesday night Traders Lounge at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. This is going to be very similar to the Morning Traders Lounge. with really the exception of we're just coming out of the Trade Masters webinar. So if members of our team have questions or want to take a deeper dive into any of those ideas, we can absolutely do that as well. But we understand that not everybody's going to be available at 11 a.m. Eastern, throughout the week. But that doesn't mean they don't need some help sometimes and don't want to have a place to come in and hang out with other traders. So we certainly will be doing our Wednesday night lounge here for anybody who wants to join us. But if your schedule just doesn't allow you to get in there in the morning and you need some help, it's a great place to go get that help when you need it. So that's what it's kind of looking like here on the schedule at Tackle Trading. An overly simplified way to think about it is that Traders Lounge, that morning lounge, is really for our team, for what does our team need us to do, to answer questions, to walk through things with them, whatever the case might be. Then the halftime report is really about staying on top of that daily routine. And then the evening shows are where we can kind of put on that teacher's hat a little bit, dive deeper into some of this stuff, right? And that's certainly a generalized way to think about it, but maybe it helps kind of keep organized. Here in the events calendars, you can kind of see, you can find all the information to get into the different shows as they're getting ready to go on. We do a lot of content every week here at Tackle Trading, and we certainly welcome our community to join us in everything that we do, but we don't expect it of our community, right? I always tell people, build your own tackle trading, right? There's no shame in not being able to join in every single show in the morning, in the daytime, in the evening. Most of these things, really, with the exception of the Traders Lounge, are going to be recorded and archived. So don't be afraid to prioritize and kind of build out your own tackle trading. Hopefully that helps you get a better idea of our shows and what they're about and when they are. And again, the events calendar is really helpful. If you're not quite sure, if you just need to grab the link, very easy to do so in here. Which is going to bring us to that last area, and that's our weekend report. At the end of the week on Fridays, we get together as a team of coaches in what we call our scouting report meeting. We talk markets, we talk sectors, commodities, trade setups, all of that fun stuff. And out of that meeting comes our weekend report, our tackle newsletter, our stock, option, and commodity reports. We get these delivered to the team each Saturday, so they have plenty of time to go through them before the market opens back up and they're ready to rock and roll for another week of trading. The newsletter is kind of the place that we all start here at Tackle Trading. Again, this first step in the 7-step guide to trading is, start at the top of the market. And that's exactly what we're doing here in the newsletter each week. So quickly give you a rundown of the week that was, make sure you didn't miss any of the big news or anything along those lines. Talk sectors, a little bit of earnings, all of that fun stuff. Take a look at the upcoming earnings, the upcoming economic calendar. Of course, we'll have a video going through this stuff with the team. Where's the overall market, be it the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell. Take a look at the internals of the market. We're going to look at over 8,000 stocks to kind of get a better idea of under the hood, if you will. A lot of times when we just look at, say, the S&P 500, those are weighted, and some of these companies like Apple and Amazon and things like that are just enormous, right? And so sometimes taking a closer look underneath the hood, if you will, can give us a better idea of the strength or weakness going on in the market. So we can take a look at the internals. We're going to rank the sectors each week based off of the stocks within those spaces. We use the sector spiders ETFs kind of as a proxy, right? So if you're not familiar with the sector spiders, basically these are ETFs that will go into the S&P 500 and pull out stocks. XLE, for example, the energy sector spider ETF goes to the S&P, pulls out just the energy stocks. It's coming out of the S&P, so they are weighting it, right? Accordingly, putting those energy stocks and just those energy stocks into a portfolio. So we're getting a closer look at just energy, right? Versus, say, healthcare, versus, say, communications, right? If you want to learn a little bit more about these, I would always say just go straight to the source. It's, the ETF provider's website is just sectorspdr.com. In there, you can see how these are built, who's in them, how they're weighted, all of that fun stuff. We're not doing our rankings specifically based off of what XLV looks like or XLE looks like. It is part of it, but it is not all of it by any means. We're really looking at the stocks that comprise these ETFs as we're coming up with our rankings each week. We're going to be moving things up or down based off of what we're seeing. each week. We'll kind of talk you through kind of the thought process, why we upgraded or didn't do anything, or we downgraded, or why we downgraded as much as we did, or whatever the case might be in the video portion. As you can kind of see, we're going to put it on a football field. Between the 40s is going to be an overall, neutral, maybe a little skew one way or the other. Between the 40 and the 20 is going to be slightly bullish, slightly bearish. In the 20 to the goal line, going to be bullish or bearish. It's extremely unlikely that you're going to see us put an entire sector into plus or minus 3 territory. That's just more aggressive than we are. I personally have never done it. I don't expect that I ever will. You never say never, but I'm pretty sure I won't. And if I do, it'll be super rare on that. It's perfectly normal to have a plus or a minus 3 on an individual stock or an individual setup for sure, but an entire sector can be very difficult. So that's just a little more aggressive than we are. And if you're a football fan, you know that getting into the end zone is tough, right? And so, we're going to spend a lot of times in football, between the 20s, if you will. Before you get into that red zone. So again, we can kind of talk you through the thought process. We break our sectors down into 3 core areas. You can have our growth sectors. That's technology, discretionary, and communications, represented here in this blue. Our cyclical, financials, industrials, basic materials, and energy, represented in gold. And then our defensive, healthcare, staples, real estate, and utilities, represented here in purple. So we'll at the end of our meeting, we do what we call a rapid fire. Just each coach just shares their favorite setup from our stock and option report for next week, kind of talk about what we like about them. Just a fun way to end the meeting. We are active over in our Discord channel. If you haven't had a chance to come join us, certainly would invite you to do so. You can easily join the Discord from any newsletter this week's, next week's, the week after, whatever. You'll find a link to get in there. And it's an awesome place just to be able to chat with other traders. All right. It's just fun to be able to bounce things around with other traders. You find a friendly reminder to match the strategy to the situation, a pre-built scanner. So if a particular sector has caught your attention, say you like the relative strength that you're seeing in energy, this will bring you once again to finviz.com. This will bring you to a pre-built scanner. It's going to hit this charts button right here. Get rid of that ad. This is going to be a group of what I refer to as trader-friendly stocks. And what I mean when I say that is they're very liquid, so it's very easy to trade shares. They're borrowable, so if I'm going short, not a problem. They're optionable. Now, just because the stock has options doesn't mean they're particularly easy to trade. Definitely always want to double check that for sure. You never want to get stuck in an illiquid option. I would say as a whole, these are pretty option friendly, but I would also say in every one of these pre-built scans, there are some names that I would never personally, at least, trade options on. But whether it's through stock or options, I'm going to be able to trade things that I find in here. And that's really what I mean when I say trader friendly. Just going to be able to kind of quickly, take the bird's eye view, right? Approach. I mean, Reggie looks like they got some sort of buyout going on. There's no trade there, right? Valero breaking to new highs. Maybe that's worth taking a closer look. Maybe got a little bit of a, quadruple top going on here on Phillips, right? Topped out about 90, 90, 90, 90. Now, could I make a trade off of this? No. And if I go look at it at my charting platform, which is exactly what I do, sometimes I'll look at it and be like, yeah, it looked a lot better from a bird's eye view. But sometimes it's an easy way to find a good trade. And it's a fast way to do that, right? I can easily go through, process a lot of information really quick. I don't like the way this one looks. I want to take a closer look at this, whatever the case might be. So just another way that we can, find trades throughout the trading week. Of course, we'll have that for all of the different sectors. The World Watch will be in here, as well as just some final thoughts going to the upcoming week. And so that is the newsletter. Coach Gino does a great job making sure our team's prepared each and every week in that newsletter. And I certainly will always suggest that as where we want to start. Coach Mark does our commodities report for us each week. He does a great job keeping people up to date with what's going on in the world of commodities. Going to talk technicals, fundamentals, the themes that are moving those markets. Commodities are really a fun thing to follow and trade, in my opinion. There's a lot of fun things we can do, even if we don't trade commodities over in the world of futures, which is what a lot of people think, and that's true, right? Gold contracts or crude contracts or whatever. But there's a lot of things that we can do through the equity markets as well. Whether it's for cash flow strategies or directional based strategies, a lot of things that we can do. And Coach Mark does a great job highlighting those different things each week in that commodities report to our team. Our stock and option report are going to be built fairly similar to one another. We want to make sure that each week our team has an actionable watch list to work out of, which is always tough during earnings season, which we're right just past the middle of. Thankfully, I'm about tired of it. We're going to make sure we have some good quality bull and bearish swing trading setups. Where they're really going to differ is in the stock report. These things might not have particularly great options. Sometimes they do. And you can always double check if you're an option trader and say, I like that setup, but I want to trade options on it. You can go check the liquidity. If it's there, great. If it's not, okay, right? But that might be why it's in the stock report instead of the option report. It also might be price and things like that. Whereas in the option report, everything in the option report, every coach at Tackle Trading at least would be comfortable trading options on that stock. Will perfectly comfortable with the liquidity and all of that fun stuff. The discussions will vary a little bit too, right? In the stock report, since we're kind of coming at that from a stock perspective, we're going to talk a little bit more about processes, right? Entry signals, stop loss management, targets, right? That type of stuff. In the option report, that stuff's every bit as important, of course, but we're going to talk a little bit more about strategy selection, right? This might be a scenario based off of the implied volatility where selling makes a little more sense than buying, or this might make sense for a diagonal for these reasons. We'll talk a little bit more about the strategy selection side of it over in that option report. But whether you trade in stock, options, commodities, or all of the above, we want to make sure our team has an actionable watch list to work through each week. Again, there's never a bad way to find a trade idea. You're not going to like them all, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not about what you don't like. It's about what you do like and want to add into your own watch list. We just want to make sure that we're sharing actionable ideas with members of our team each week. Again, we'll get these reports delivered to you by Saturday afternoon, so you have plenty of time to go through them before the market opens back up. As we get wrapping up here, we do a daily email. That's our Tackle Today email. If you click on Tackle Today here, you can get signed up for that email if you would like to do so very easily. Just a quick little, nugget to get the day started, as well as the lineup and the links for everything for all the stuff that we got going on each day. If you prefer to read it directly on this page, you absolutely can do so. It will get delivered to your inbox faster, but we will get it posted here directly in the Tackle Today link. If you would prefer to read it over here, that is perfectly fine. We are active on all of the different social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Of course, over here on our YouTube channel, we do a lot of live content each week, with the halftime report, the Trade Masters webinars, the special webinars. But we do have lots of other stuff on our channel as well, a lot of how-tos, walkthroughs, thinkorswim tutorials, and are always thinking of new things to add. So, if you're a YouTube user, certainly would appreciate if you gave us a subscribe and hit that notification bell. It does really help us out, and hopefully it helps you out as well to kind of let you know when we're adding something new or when we are live or things of that nature. But if you use these platforms, certainly invite you to join us on any of them that you are using. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to send us an email, team@tackletrading.com. We're here to help, so never hesitate to reach out if you need something. At the end of the week, we do the Huddle podcast. This link will take you over there. Coach will basically want to make sure that we kind of, again, stay on top of things. The Huddle is just a short podcast going through the top stories of the trading week in a quick, efficient, unbiased manner. Great way to make sure you didn't miss any of the big stuff each and every week. You can listen to it directly on that link, or you can catch it on any of your favorite podcast providers. Our friends over at tradingjustice.com also do the Trading Justice podcast each week. It's a little deeper than the Huddle, right? The Huddle is about fast, efficient, staying on top of things. Some really great discussions on trading happen each week over on the Trading Justice podcast. Definitely worth incorporating into your weekly routine. In my opinion, you can catch that over at tradingjustice.com or at your favorite podcast provider. But another really good, in my opinion, at least, addition to your weekly routine. There's also a really nice monthly newsletter they do over at tradingjustice.com always really, really deep and informative and very much worth a read. So you can check that out. Again, that's tradingjustice.com. You'll find Coach Matt, Coach Mark, and Coach Tim bringing that your way each and every week. So a lot of things to do. And like I said earlier, we could build our own tackle trading, right? Somebody brand new to the market probably uses a little different than someone who's been around for 5 years and is primarily trading covered calls or cash flow based systems. And it's not to say one's better than the other. It's just we are who we are, right? And it's okay to build around that. So don't be afraid to build your own tackle trading. We do a lot of stuff. We're going to keep our team plenty busy. We invite you to join us in all of the things that we're doing each week, but we do not expect that of you. So like I said earlier, prioritize. It's certainly understandable. There's only so much time in a day after all. But no, if you want to talk trading and have questions and want to connect with an awesome community, lots of ways to do that for sure around here at Tackle Trading. It has been a pleasure. I certainly thank everybody for their time. If you are a new pro member, welcome to the team. Excited to have you and excited to get to know you. I'll certainly be seeing you around. I have no doubt about that. If you're just checking into us, if you just kind of hang around with us on YouTube, appreciate you checking this out as well, and certainly welcome you as part of the team as well. If you are ever interested, we do have a standing offer, a free 15-day trial. You can always come in and see what we're doing on the back end. You can find a link to that in the description of any of our YouTube videos over in the store tab, or send us an email to that team at tackletrading.com. We'd be happy to get you set up. Take a look at what we're doing on the back end for a couple of weeks, see if it's a good fit. If it is, great. If it's not, well, no harm, no foul, right? So that is a standing offer if and when you're ready to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been my pleasure. Appreciate everybody's time. Stay safe out in this market. The volatility is definitely here right now. There's no two ways about that. Have a great rest of your Monday. Have a great week, both in and out of the markets. And I'll hope to see you all again very, very soon. But until then, good night, everyone.